Welcome back, everyone. Day 8. So today we're going to look at how we research for rent-to-rent areas and just go through the motions again using our spreadsheet here. We just need to go to the HMO analysis tab. Bit different today to the kind of last 2 days where we've been using Rightmove. We're going to jump over to a site called Spare Room. Spare Room is basically where, I guess, landlords with HMOs list their stuff and where tenants go and find properties. So if we just look at, postcode, I've got my area for here. So we have, as you see here, all the listings of the houses. But what's really good about this, it shows you rooms to rent or rooms wanted. And therefore you can check the demand by using these two little icons. So you can break it down into postcodes. So that's just, I'm going to do a couple of the kind of hot area postcodes in our sort of city. So if we go back to the start, I mean, as a general rule, you'll have, I don't want you to get put off by the fact that there's going to be more rooms for rent than there are people looking for rooms, because that's natural. Not everybody's going to set up a profile to search for a room. That's just, that just doesn't happen. So don't worry about that. I think that probably 1 in 3 people set a profile up. So if you'll see here, rooms to rent 107. If I went rooms wanted, same postcode. 173. This is a very overpopulated area for. This is a HMO area. It's an Article 4 area, which I'll come on to in a bit. So that actually doesn't surprise me. But in general, we'll do a few more searches. It will normally be that 1 to 3 ratio. So rooms available 107. Tenant searching was 173. Now I think that should be times 3. I do think that not everyone will set a profile up when they're searching on here. So as you can see there, there's huge demand and there's not many rooms available at the minute. Area is Newcastle. It's Newcastle City Council. And the reason we need that is because we want to check if it's an Article 4 area. So NE6 Article 4. NE6 postcode district. There's various websites you can check whether they're Article 4. Obviously, some are quicker than others. I'm not sure what I've landed on here, but that's not the right website. We want the councils. There we go. Accept definition. So on the council's website, and each council is different as well. So you should have, here we go, Article 4 directions. You should check your own councils because each council is different. They all follow similar sort of guidelines, but they are different. So you see here is an interactive map of our Article 4 area. So we just click on this, and then it kind of shows you here the Article 4 areas. And then obviously you probably need to know your cities a bit to understand the maps and make sure that you've got your Article 4, but heating's in there. So I'd imagine search by postcode NE6. So this is all Article 4 sort of area. So what you want to be doing is basically why you want to be checking if it's Article 4 is because it will make it a bit more of an issue if it hasn't already got a license. If you are wanting to maybe do a rent-to-rent, the last thing you want to do is buy into a rent-to-rent deal, agree the terms, pay deposits or however you commit, and you find out that it's in an Article 4 area and you didn't do that due diligence. You can't rent it out as a HMO. You've got a big problem, So like any property investor and any strategy, and this is why we're focusing so much on the research this week, doing your due diligence is hugely important before you get a penny out of your bank account. What we then want to do is we want to just work out sort of average doubles and average single room rates. Again, this comes into research, so we know whether, you know, if say, for example, the average double is £300 a night, and, you know, that's £300 a month, and we've got 5 beds and 6 beds, well, you're going to get about, you know, anywhere from probably 1,500 to 1,800 a month after sort of occupancy levels and stuff fluctuate. So if you then get offered a rent-to-rent deal, or you're searching for rent-to-rent deals and the rent's £1,600 a month, well, you know that's not going to work. You know, and again, it's all about cutting that wasted time down by knowing your information. So how I kind of check the room rates is just quickly have a flick through. So we've got 400 there for a double. You see there, double room 330. Got double there 340, double 370, double 340, double 370, 3 doubles 340. So I'm going to make an educated guess that, you know, £350 for an average double. Singles, you can, here we go, click here, single room, apply filters. We've got 250, we've got 50 to £65 a week, we've got 250, we've got 350, 350. So, you know, I'm probably going to go 300 on those. Average market rent for a 3-bed. Now, why do we want to find this out? Obviously, we want to know roughly what the house prices are going to rent out at. So what we can do, and you can also use open rent. Open rent calculator. Rent calculator. So we've got NE6. We want the area stats. Here we go. So we're looking at houses here. So a 1-bed, well, with 3-bed, obviously a 1-bed doesn't work for HMO. 3 beds don't really, but every now and then you might be able to pull one off. 793. Average rent for a 4-bed is 1107. Average rent for a 5-bed is 1414. So, you know, this is where the research comes in, and then you start getting to know your areas, and then you start to pick up areas. You know, for me, I know if we can get a 5-6 bedder for £1,000 a month rent to rent in this area, that they cash flow quite nicely. These have actually dropped slightly since COVID. You know, I think you can get 450 for decent doubles done out nicely in this area. You know, that's what we get. We have properties in this area, and you know, I try not to operate on singles as best I possibly can, but you know, every now and then you can find you're better off having a single room than no room at all, because there are people that are quite happy to just, you know, pay 275s, 325s for rooms. You know, so 400, 300, and then, you know, they're your sort of rents now. Again, and then you would kind of just repeat this process all the way through your various postcodes. So you might look at postcodes around yourself to start off with, and then you might stretch it out to your whole city, or you might even be looking in total other cities altogether. You know, it just totally depends on where you're looking to invest, where you feel comfortable with. You might have an idea in your head of what's working, what's not working, and you know, what areas are popular HMO areas. You know, I know that around my cities for Durham, Sunderland, Newcastle, you know, Reading, we know that area well for HMOs. So, you know, we know where the pockets are, and we know what's good and what's not good. You'll know the same if you've lived in the same city for quite some time, or maybe you still live where you were brought up. You know, I'm sure you'll know where all the students tend to congregate, all the professionals tend to congregate, that sort of stuff. So let's just see if I'm going to get proven right or wrong here. In Newcastle, there's 495 rooms for rent. And if we go rooms wanted, there's 211. So you see there's less rooms wanted than there is rooms for rent. But as I always say work on a ×3 multiple of the rooms wanted. So that would take us to like 633 versus the 400 453, I think it was, or 400 and 500, let's say. So there's more people wanting rooms than there's rooms available, which is always a good sign. So for me, that is just a really good trick to do before you start looking at cities, or before you start paying any money to rent anywhere. So again, fairly short today on how you go about analyzing your rent-to-rent and researching your deals. When you do have your areas, then again you want to go onto various websites, and we want to start opening conversations. But we'll kind of come on to that next week when we're sort of taking action a bit more and covering in detail how we actually then find these sort of perfect properties, because a lot of them are going to be listed on here already, and a lot of them are going to be on websites such as Zoopla, to rent here, but they're going to be up with agents. So you either need to get past the gatekeeper of the agency, which we'll teach you how to do, or you need to be getting direct to the landlords and having conversations with them, which again, we can show you how to do. And just like like your lease options, where you're going to send a mailer out, there is, for most cities, if you go to Google, and this is a great strategy, you go to Google and you just go Newcastle HMO register. Every city has one of these. If you've got a license, you have to go on the register, and you can then download the register. Let me see. Freedom of information request. You've got to do a bit of digging, but these registers do exist, and when you do get them, here we go. Is the right one? No, I think that's for an application. When you do find the registers, they're normally in an Excel format. You download them and then you just send them on a letter. There's a lot of tired HMO landlords out there. If you send them a letter and maybe offering them some sort of rent guarantee, and you want to take over their properties, again, you do get responses to it. Again, not massive. You're not going to get loads and loads of phone calls, but the ones that do come through, they are very, very lucrative, and they're normally good quality leads, and again, it's just another marketing strategy. So you got to just get yourself out there, and I guess at this stage it's just knowing where to get out there. So all these little tips that I keep dropping in, make sure that you're keeping a log of them. So once we've done our research, this is where we're going to go: the Facebook and the HMO registers, sending letters out to lease options. There's all these different strategies, and you just kind of got to be doing them all at the same time. And then when the leads come in, you then take action and you go down the sort of the tunnel that the lead has come in on. So if it's a rent lead, you kind of go that way. If it's a lease option, you talk about lease options. And that's why I'm a huge fan of knowing all the strategies rather than just sort of pigeonholing yourself into one strategy, which is kind of why my course has everything covered, and why my portfolio is diversified across all strategies, because I was interested in them all from the start. I got the knowledge on them all, and then I kind of just went with the flow of it. So as always, if you've got any questions, jump into the Facebook group and ask them. And for the rest of the day, get after your research, start looking at your areas and selecting which areas will work. What you want to be doing is, you could, if you really wanted to, is add a little column here, which would be, if you wanted to put a little column beside each one of these and start getting clever with stuff, you could work out, so it equals that times 3, which would be your average, double room price. Obviously, for this house here, you've got 3 bedrooms, so your rent's 793. If you work on £500 worth of bills, it's not going to leave you much room. See, that's why your market rents don't work. If you went equals 400 times 4 for your 4-bedroom house, and then your 500 bills, because the thing with your bills is, your bills, whilst they go up slightly for your market, for more rooms, they don't jump up that much more. So, your bills will not be that much different from a 3-bed to a 5-bed property. But obviously in a 5-bed, you're going to get another £800 rent a month. Now, you see here, they're all kind of, if you add 500 quid on, they'd all kind of come into what the market rent would be. But what you then want to be doing is, you're getting these for sort of £1,000, 5 bedder for £1,000, and you're bringing in £2,000. Well, all of a sudden you've got £1,000 to play with. You pay your bills of about 500 quid, and you're gonna net 500 quid profit. So it's not as straightforward as that, but that's just a quirky little tip that you can kind of run on your numbers if you want to actually identify stronger locations and which locations work better, which ones don't. You might find that some of the postcodes, they might have a lesser demand in terms of tenants, but they might have much cheaper rents and the room rates might stay the same. Because if you do some nice rooms and they're on the fringes, like Gateshead, for example, is outside of Newcastle, but if you do the rooms out nice, you can demand the same as sort of your Heaton and Jesmond sort of areas, but the rents are a lot cheaper. So, you're going to get much more profit from getting properties going in those locations than where you've got to pay a bit more for the properties. So that's why we do the research. And obviously these Google Sheets are kind of a template for you to then expand on and, add in columns that work for you and help you with your research. But the bulk of it and what the core data is kind of what's already laid out for you in the sheets. So that's it. So take care and get after it, get after your research, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Cheers.